Hello, my amazing artists. Welcome back. We have been reading Frida Kahlo and her Animalitos, written by Monica Brown and illustrated by Parra. During our last video, we met Frida's eagle and we learned about another challenge Frida faced. She had to stay at home again, but her mom made sure that her bedroom was a place where she could create art, which is really nice. Today we are finally going to meet the last of Frida's pets, and there are 5 of them. What do y'all think? Is that too many pets? My dog PETA says that's too many pets. But I think that's just because he wants all the attention. Right, PETA?
And if those weren't enough pets, Frida had 2 turkeys and 3 dogs, Senor Cholo, Senorita Capellina, and Senora Costi. Frida's turkeys were intelligent and sensitive, just like herself. And, like Frida, her dogs were warm and loving. When she was lonely or sad, she would wrap her arms around them and they would comfort her. Her Xolo dogs were the same breed that ran and hunted with the Aztecs thousands of years ago, and a reflection of Frida's heritage, of which she was very proud. Frida's dogs had no hair, but their bodies were warm, and Frida gave them great big hugs whenever she felt lonely or sad. Today we're going to draw a dog. I want you to find inspiration from the dogs in this book, but also from your favorite kinds of dogs. Maybe you have a pet dog at home you would like to draw. So this dog in the book is super cute. He has this big head and this small body. He's hairless and gray, and he's looking upwards. We're going to change the proportions up a little bit. I'm going to make his head a little bit smaller and his body a little bit bigger, but they're going to be in the same areas of your paper. So this top right corner will be his head, and then his body will take up most of the page. And we'll leave room on the left side for his tail. So in this top right hand corner, we will draw a basic circular shape to start with. That's not going to be the actual shape of his head, but that's just going to give us an idea of where it should go. Make sure you leave room on the top and on the right side for his ears and his nose. And then his body, I'm just going to start with this big oval sort of shape. And I will be adjusting that shape later. I'm going to be doing a lot of erasing, so make sure you're drawing lightly. And then we know his tail and his legs will be here in these areas. I'm just going to leave those spots empty for now. All right, let's start with the dog's head. So whenever I draw a character's head, whether that be a person or an animal, I find that it helps if I draw curved lines across the face. So going vertically and horizontally, I draw curved lines and create more of a sphere shape rather than a flat circle. And that really helps me know where to put his different features like eyes and nose and mouth. And it helps me make sure that everything is facing the right direction. I know I want my dog looking up. I want him looking towards the top right-hand side of my paper. So I made my vertical line more towards the right side. And I just had my horizontal line curving upward just a little bit. Now for his eyes, they should be hitting that horizontal line that you made. And you can make those a more realistic eye shape if you want to, or you can do what I'm doing and draw these sort of oval shapes. And they should both be hitting that middle line that you drew in the same way. And I want his eyes looking towards the right side. So I'm putting his inner circles towards the right side of his eye. Now for his nose, we need to give him sort of this snout that comes out to the right side of his face. So right next to that right eye, we're going to start drawing this curved line that comes outward towards the edge of our paper. And then we're going to curve it down and then curve it back towards the left so that it connects with our circle. I like the way that that looks. So all of these extra lines inside of his snout, I'm going to erase because I don't need those anymore. And inside of there, I need to draw his nose. I want his nose to be in this top upper corner, and I'm going to make it into a triangular shape, but with curved corners. And then I'm just going to put little curved lines on each side for his nostrils. The mouth in the book, it's just one curved line, and you could do that because it makes him look really happy. I'm going to have this little line coming down from the nose and then a curved line coming out on one side with a little smile and then curving towards the other side. Now, you could leave his mouth like this, or you could add a tongue. I want his tongue sticking out. So that's just going to be this curved shape coming down from his mouth. With a line down the middle. And so I need to erase the line that goes through his tongue. There we go. And then I can go back and add the line down the middle of his tongue. And then since his tongue's sticking out, his mouth's probably open, so I just added another curved line at the bottom of his mouth. And I'm adding just some polka dots around his nose where his whiskers would be. Moving on to his ears. These ears are pointy in the story, and I want mine to be pointy too. But you could draw yours any way you want. You could have these kind of ears that droop downward. Those are cute. You could draw ears that come up and then flop down. Those are cute too. I think all dogs are cute. So any way you want to draw those ears is super okay with me. My dog at home has giant ears that point straight up. So I do want to keep these pointy ears on the dog I'm drawing. I think that will be cute. So since I have the top of his head blocked off and split in half, that'll help me know where to put each ear. One will be taking up this big space on this left side, and the other one will be facing more towards the back of his head. So I'm going to start with the ear on the left side. I'm going to draw a little line on each side of where I want those ears to be, and then a little point at the end so I can see how tall I want them to be, and then I'm just going to connect with a curved line on each side. I'm going to have one curved line and then a zigzag line to show some hairs inside of his ear. Now, on the other side, I want it obviously poking in the other direction, and I'm going to do that same thing inside. Now I can do a whole bunch of erasing because those horizontal and vertical curved lines that I drew across his face will not serve a purpose anymore, so I can get rid of those. I'm going to define this top line a little bit better, and then I want it to go in front of that back ear, but I don't want it to go in front of the ear closer to me. Now when I look at this dog's chin, it is going to come towards the left side, and that will help me to know where to start the line that goes down towards his body. So I'm coming towards this left side, and then I'm curving down just a little bit for his neck. Let me take another look at this dog in the book. So from his chin, that line will curve down, and then it's going to curve in the other direction. And however big you make that curve is how big his chest will be. So I'm coming out and back around. And that's my dog's chest. And from there, I can take a look at where those two front legs will go. So we've got one behind his chest and one coming down in front of his chest. And it's going to start with two lines that come towards each other. So they're diagonal lines that go towards each other at the bottom. I'm going to, I want to erase this chest, just bring it in a little tiny bit. I think I made it a little bit too big for the shape of, or the size of his head. I want it to be in proportion. So I'm just making some fixes real quick. All right, I think I like that a little bit better. Now, since I have drawn the top of his leg, from there we're going to have two parallel lines that go down towards the bottom of the paper. And in the book, the foot doesn't have much detail, and you can keep it like that if you want. I'm going to draw some curved little toes, so he'll have a cute little paw at the bottom. And then you can erase inside of that leg. For the other leg, it's just going to come straight down. It should be a straight line, and then you'll have that paw again, and you'll have another straight line there. Good. From here, I think I want to look at the back side of his neck, and that's going to come downward, and then it's going to curve out. So I came downward just to give him a little bit of a neck, and I'm curving out, and this line along his back, it's sort of flat. So that line you can keep straight for the most part, going towards the back of the paper, or towards the left side of the paper, I guess that would be. And I made it come down a little bit from that first oval shape that I drew, so that it's more in proportion with his body. Now, from his chest, that curved line, it's going to come upward on the other side of his leg. So from here, we're going to draw a line that curves upward. Just like that. And then his back leg, it's going to be straight, and then it's coming to a point where it turns to another direction. So I'm going to draw a line that comes downward and then changes direction. And both of those parts of the leg should be straight lines. And here's the back side of that leg. Again, straight lines. And I'm drawing his paw. For this other leg on the other side, it looks a little bit, it looks much straighter than the other one, but I am going to give it a little bit of an angle in the middle. And then his paw. And so he's got all four legs now. from the back of this leg, we need to have a curved line that connects up to that back that we drew. And you can erase the oval that we started with. Obviously, my oval, it helped me know the general area I wanted my body to be in, but I didn't stay very true to those lines. I wanted his body to be a little bit smaller, I think. I like how it looks. I'm going to add a tail now. Your tail can look like the one in the book, or it could be a curly tail or a fluffy tail. I'm making I made mine into a smooth tail, and I want it to be wagging, so I'm drawing these motion lines. At this point, you can add some details. I'm going to put highlights in his eyes, and I'll probably, I want to add some details on his fur. So my dog at home has this white stripe that goes across his face. So I'm adding that. And he's got little white feet too that look like socks. So I'm adding that. I want him to have a white tail. And I'm just going to do a cute little heart on his butt. And then I'm going to add a white belly too. So, of course, you can make any sort of details that you want. I want you to be happy with your artwork. I want you to be able to look at your drawing and feel proud of it. And I want it to make you feel happy. You could leave it like this, or you could color it. I'm going to use a Sharpie. If you use a Sharpie, make sure you have a paper underneath so it doesn't bleed through your paper. The Sharpie I'm using is a fine point, so it will keep all of my details, and I'm working towards the right side of my paper because I'm right-handed. So using a Sharpie or a fine point pen or an artist's pen or marker, using that to trace over your lines, it just really defines all the work that you have done so far. And if you plan on coloring it later, it makes so that your lines don't get covered up completely by that color. I'm adding a little bit more details actually as I go. I want them to look a little bit more furry. And I think I also want to use this Sharpie to color in his eye, making sure to leave my highlights white. Be careful when you are coloring with a Sharpie. It is permanent, so there's no fixing that. And I'm going to color in his nose too with it, I think. But I'll leave those little nostrils white. All right, so I think it looks cute like this. Some of you might want to just leave it. At this point, you can erase all of those lines. You can erase every line that you've made, And since you outlined with Sharpie, the Sharpie will be dry. There's no need to worry about it smearing or anything like that. Ta-da! So at this point, you could add color if you wanted to. You can use any sort of supply that you want. I'm going to use crayons just because it's something I know a lot of us have at home. When I look at the dog in the book, it is this grayish color, which is cute. I want mine to be brown with white on him. So I'm going to start with a brown crayon and I'm going to add a little bit more texture before I color the whole thing. So I'm going to push down really hard with my crayon, but hold it carefully enough to not break it. Although if you do break it, it's not a big deal. And I'm going to just go all the way around his body, adding these short lines and these zigzag lines just to give him a little bit more texture. And they should be dark because when you go back to color over it, you want to still be able to see these lines that you're making. When you feel happy with the lines that you have created for texture, you're going to begin coloring with that same crayon, only this time you'll be pushing down less. So you want to be gently coloring to make it lighter. That way you could still see those dark crayon marks that you made. So I filled in all the spots that need to be brown. At this point, you could look at where the shadows are in the book. There's some on the top of his head, under his chin, at his chest, and on those back legs, and then around his tail. And if you want, you could use your crayon to again press a little bit darker in those spots just to give it a little bit of value. Now I'm done with my brown. I want all these spots to be white, so I'm just going to leave them. And for his ears, I think I want those to be a pink color. for the inside of his ears. And then for his mouth and his tongue, I'm going to use a red. All right, I think I'm finished with mine. You could add more to yours, of course. I've got all of this white space around. You could make him in your living room. You could draw him at a park or at the beach, whatever you want. But you did so awesome. Make sure that your parents take a picture of your artwork and email it to me. I love to see.